Now, any loyal listener to the Peak Performers podcast knows we talk a whole lot about accountability. Well, Aaron Walker knows a thing or two about it himself, and in this episode, he lets us in on how it's done with very high-end business executives. So consider yourself one of our inner circle on this episode of the Peak Performers podcast.
Welcome to this edition of Peak Performers Podcast with your host, Thor Conklin. Thor will be sharing the necessary tools, strategies, and psychology you'll need to become a peak performer in any area of your life or business.
Every peak performer that has ever lived or will live does one thing extremely well. They know how to take their ideas and execute on them. Ideas and knowledge are not power. But the ability to execute on them, that is real power. If you consider yourself a peak performer and really want to take your game to the next level and truly master the science of execution, I would like to send you some information about our upcoming event, Business Execution Summit. Simply take your phone and text the word BE Summit, one word, to 41411. And I'll send you some additional information on how to master the most important skill you will ever acquire for your life or your business. I want to talk a little bit about your masterminds. You run a very successful mastermind program, several of them. What have been your key takeaways? I was looking at it earlier. Really interesting how you get together with them. What is it, twice a year for 3 days?
Yeah, we do weekly on video conference, and we have an accountability tool, and you rank yourself every Saturday on 10 different items that we rotate through depending on the season we're in. And you rank yourself 1 to 10 in these areas, keeps it top of mind ongoing. We have a book that we read every month. We're reading Deep Work by Cal Newport right now. We have what's called Man in the Middle. Two people come to the forefront, discuss personal or professional topics that they need help on. And then we have open time that they go through. And we do that every week. And here's what's cool is that our biggest enemy is procrastination. And we keep kicking the can down the road. Well, I'll get to it next week. I'll get to it next quarter. I'll get to it. That's why the 12-week year is so valuable. It allows you or makes you do these tasks each and every day. Well, when you come before 10 other guys every week, you're not going to not do the work, right? And as a result of doing the work, you're going to be more successful. And then we meet twice a year at a place here in Nashville. I rent the whole place out, and at my expense, I bring all these guys in, pay for the room, pay for all the food. They just have to get there. And then we have 60 guys or so that we have intense mastermind meetup for 2 days, 2.5 days, twice a year. And it is phenomenal what goes on at those events, because when you press the flesh, when you're able to look at a guy in the eye for 2.5 days, there's a bond that forges, and then you're with them every week on this video conference call, and you're constantly edifying, encouraging, lifting up, holding accountable. I'm telling you, iron sharpens iron is the name of it, and we really do that. With sparks fly, as guys say. We have a hot seat, and we'll carve you up in a minute. I tell people, if you've got a real shallow backbone, don't join, because you won't last long, because we're not a coffee club. We're in there to get better. We're in there to help ordinary men become extraordinary. Nothing against women. It's just that we coach men. That's the niche market that I've elected, because for 30 years now, I've been in accountability groups, mastermind groups. I've led men's groups. I know how men think, and we get personal all up in your business, personally and professionally. It's the only way we can help you is if we know you. And the only way we can know you is if we ask a lot of questions and spend a lot of time with you.
Yeah, I don't know if your groups are anything like mine. I don't run a mastermind group, but I run live events. And I tell you, it's really interesting bringing a group of guys together. Most of the people that attend my live events are men, not exclusively, but it's really interesting the dynamic that will start to form between the participants. Mm-hmm. I mean, they'll really start to go, I don't want to say go after each other, but really challenge each other. And sometimes I feel like the referee. It's like, all right, I think he got your point. He's sobbing in the corner.
Well, here's the thing. We need it.
Yeah, I know.
Right? We need accountability. We need people off in our stuff, to say, you got to quit doing. Listen, The Big Leap, Gay Hendricks wrote, talks about upper limit challenges. We all have them. And I'll just be honest with you. I lay in bed sometimes at night, even though we've done okay, and I'll go, nobody else is going to hire me. Nobody else is going to join my mastermind group. And Robin will go, will you shut up? And I'm like, oh, my goodness. Yeah. Thor, we all have that. We've all got these upper limit challenges. It's just different for different people depending on the stage of life you're in or where you're at or what the challenge is. And Gay Hendricks helps push through those upper limit challenges. That's what the mastermind groups do. They get around you and go, you big baby, quit whining and get to work. Let's get this done. Or get off your hind end and get this, or stop doing that. This is terrible. We had a guy recently that brought his project to the group, and he was going to launch this course, and he showed it to us. It was terrible. I mean, it was awful. And we said, music is too long on the intro. This is too short. You need to increase this. He perfected it, brought it back. It was unbelievable. See, I'd rather be embarrassed in front of 10 guys than I had the whole community. And so you want to get people around you that don't have anything to gain or lose as a result of what they tell you, and they'll tell you the truth. If you're asking for advice from your family, they're going to lick their finger and stick it in the air and see which way the wind's blowing because they got to eat Thanksgiving dinner with you. Or your partner, he's biased because he's your partner. He can't help but be biased. But when you get people around you that don't have anything to gain or lose, now you're going to get the truth.
Yeah. And, it's really interesting what I find, too, is, we've been at this game for quite some time. And even we're figuring stuff out. We're growing, we're developing, we're sharpening our own iron. And it's funny because I mentor a group of young entrepreneurs, and they always go, well, that's easy for you, Thor, because, you've been at this for 17 years. I'm like, dude, I'm working my way through this thing too, because I don't have this thing mastered. And they're like, well, you look like you do.
Yeah, you look like it, but it always changes. You may be dealing with bigger dollars or more people, but in the group, the mastermind group that I told you for 2 decades I've been in, those guys are super successful, and they come in there, same problems, just bigger numbers, right? Yeah. And it's like, man, how do I figure this out? How do I go to the next level? We've always got to be sharpening our axe. The day we quit sharpening our axe, we're in trouble. And we've just got to keep these people around us all the time. Not only for that, but also for personal development, not just professionally. You need to be a great husband. You need to be a great dad. You need to be great in your community. I always want to be better. Always. I don't know about you, Thor, and I'm sure you do. It's constantly, I want to be moving the needle. How can I make a bigger impact? How can I be a better man? How can I encourage or mentor other people? And the only way you can do that is if you surround yourself with great people.
Absolutely. It starts off every day with me asking great questions. I have a statue here in my office called the Self-Made Man, and it's a man chiseling himself out of a block of granite. He's got a hammer in one hand and he's got a spike in the other. And that's really me. I wake up every day figuring out what doesn't belong and what I need to chip away. And hopefully I'm a little bit better version today than I was yesterday.
Yeah, that statue's always there. You just got to cut away the stuff that doesn't matter.
Absolutely. Michelangelo and David just chipped everything away that wasn't him.
Yep.
Big A. I love that. I can call you Big A now.
Come on, Thor.
All right.
Big A's in the house.
Let's talk about some grit and determination. How's it paid off for you?
When I was a child, Thor, my mom had a saying, and it made me really ill at the time. But now I look back and I've adopted it as my mantra. She'd say, can't, couldn't do it, but could, did it all. And man, when she would say that, it would just fly all over me, and she would not allow me to say can't. She'd say, you might not be able to do it, but you're going to try. Well, as a direct result of that, what happened? I was successful at some things that she forced me to try. And I tell everybody all the time, I make up with grit and determination what I lack in education, is that I have the mentality of I can do anything. Just give me some time, give me some experience, give me a little push, give me a nudge, some edification, and I can do this. Carol Dweck wrote Mindset. You either have a growth or a fixed mindset. And I want the growth mindset, not fixed. Fixed says, hey, it's the way I am. It's the way I was raised. And I'm like, no. I mean, we have personality traits that you can't change, but you can change your behavior. I have a family member that's just a jerk, just to be honest with you. And he's always said, it's just the way I am. I said, well, you need to change your honey because people don't like you. They don't like you saying that kind of stuff. And you need to work through that. And you can do that with grit and determination. Be determined you want to be better. I'm not asking you to change your personality. I'm asking you to change your behavior. And you got to switch that mindset to I can do that. And I tell everybody all the time, what you mean when you say you can't do that is you mean you can't do that. That's what you're saying. But what I'm saying, listen, I came from a family with nothing. My dad never made over $15,000 a year in his life. Okay. So I retired at 27. Well, how did I do that? I didn't have a beginning. He didn't have me $100,000. Say, go out and open your own store. I had to go out and find guys. Hey, you want to go in business together? And finally I found these guys and they said, hey, yeah, it's a long story. You'll have to have me back on. I'll tell you that story. But we went in business together. I had to give up 2/3 of the profit for almost 9 years in order to do it, but it paid off handsomely. And then it gave me a leg up and I was able to go forward and ended up buying those guys out. And, it's just a whole nother story. But what I'm saying is there's ways to do it. You can't just say, well, that's the only way. And people say no all the time. I love this. They say, well, I asked and they said no. I said, no means no for today. The other day, this is kind of fun, and I just found this out day before yesterday. The book I told you I wrote, The Mastermind Blueprint, I sent it out to a number of guys to get endorsements. So I've got another book that I wrote. We're right in the middle of a book launch called The View from the Top. And I sent it to Seth Godin. And I thought, man, golly, who wouldn't love to have Seth Godin's, endorsement? He sent me an email back. He said, Aaron, I'm sure it's a good book, but I don't have time to invest in it. Sorry, no, I can't give you an endorsement. Well, it kind of hurt my feelings a little bit because I was like, man, I got to have Seth's endorsement. Well, I didn't get it. So I wrote my second book, The Mastermind Blueprint. And I said, you know what? No was no then. I sent it back to Seth. He read it and he fell in love with it. And he sent me his endorsements going on the front cover. So if I had given up, if I had quit, if I hadn't had the grit and the determination and the perseverance, I wouldn't have got Seth Godin's endorsement on my second book because people think, hey, he may say no. The answer is always no unless you ask, right? I don't mind rejection. People talk about failure, I don't even believe in failure. I believe you succeed or you learn, one or the other, right? And so I say fear missing an opportunity more than you fear failure. Yep. And when you develop that with the grit, determination, and perseverance of couldn't do it, and did it all, there is nothing you can't do.
In life, there's winners and there's learners.
That's it.
And I've been on both sides, but I've always come out on top. And
well, you can't quit, right? You just can't quit.
Exactly. And if the answer is no, all you got to do is look in the mirror, and then it'll be on. So it's on.
There you go. I love that. I've heard that, but thank you for that. That's a good one.
Well, I'm going to steal your bottle rocket without a stick.
Come on, do it.
I love that. It's just awesome. And, it's funny because I have two dictionaries, one at home and one in my office, and literally the page that contained the word can't is gone. I ripped it out.
There you go.
And people are like, that's not true. I'm like, pull it out. Look at it. And they're like, you're right. And then someone pointed out, they said, you also ripped out Ken.
Hey, here's the thing. Don't let anybody steal your dream, okay? There's naysayers out there. Don't surround yourself. I talked about earlier in the interview, surround yourself with meaningful relationships, people that are going to undergird you, hold your arms up when you're tired, take those sand from the gurney you were carrying and put it on their shoulders at times. Get in the trenches with people that are making a difference. Jim Rohn hit it out of the park when he said you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Make sure you're spending time with people that have an inordinate amount of grit and determination. It's very contagious.
Great advice. What's next for you in business?
I'm right in the middle of this book launch, and I'm telling you, man, writing a book is an arduous task. It's very meaningful. It's already helping out in huge ways. I'm right in the midst of that right now. June the 20th is the launch date to get View from the Top. It's an amazing book. I tell in the book how I overcame great hurdles and obstacles in my life, how I overcame bitterness. You'll have to get the book to read it, but I literally had a rifle in my hand. I was going to shoot a guy, literally. And I put the gun down. I'm like, what am I doing? This guy cheated me out of a lot of money. And I tell the story in there how I overcame that. It's just how I overcame, this wreck that I had. I could have laid down and I didn't have to work, but I chose to get up. It's not how many times you get knocked down, as they always say. It's how many times you get up, and you got to get up one more time than you get knocked down. And that's where that grit and determination comes in. I don't know that I'll ever quit, Thor. I just love what I do. I love helping people achieve their goals and dreams. I'm a junkie for personal development. I love to read. I'll read 2 or 3 hours a day. I love doing that. I love listening to TED Talks. I love reading blogs. I love listening to podcasts. I love doing interviews because I know there's a way to accomplish what you want to do. You just not maybe met the right person yet, or you've not been introduced to the person that you need to take you to that next level. And so for me, what's next is figuring out a way to stretch our message even further. And we're doing that through other facilitators now with our View from the Top umbrella. And we're growing these masterminds from within out. It will be a national organization. There will be chapters in other countries. It's going to be unbelievable because it's transforming men's lives right now like nothing before. It's radically helping people get clarity in their lives, overcome obstacles, and achieve the things that they want to do in a character and integrity and an honest kind of way. And so I know I'm passionate about it because it's working. I'm seeing guys double and triple their incomes in short periods of time. I'm seeing guys become better dads and husbands. And I want to pour everything I've got into these mastermind groups in the community.
Yeah, you're like me. I have no plans ever to retire. You will not find me in Florida at some country club playing golf every day. I just enjoy it too much. You know, the emails, the letters, the text from clients just saying, you have no idea how you changed my life. I just live for that.
I was standing in my office at my home. I've got an office away and I've got one at home, and I've done a pod, like you said earlier, I've done, a lot of podcast interviews, and there's a guy in Australia wrote me a letter and an email, and he heard my podcast interview, and I was telling about overcoming obstacles and getting bitterness out of your life. And I started reading it. I started crying. I couldn't even finish reading it, how it changed this guy's life. And I called Robin over. I said, finish reading this to me. I couldn't even see the screen because the guy said it changed their life. Well, oh my goodness, how could I quit? If I'm able to help somebody radically change their life and overcome obstacles and eliminate bitterness and eradicate these addictions out of their life, how in the world could I sit on the front porch and rock myself to sleep or play golf every day at the local country club? It's not happening for Big A. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I know. Now I'm a big guy. I'm 6'4", Thor, and I'll do interviews, and I'll start getting on a topic, and I won't lose it, but I'll get really emotional talking about some of these instances. I just got a letter the other week. A guy said, you really changed my life. And I was like, well, I'm glad. What was it? He goes, it was about a year ago. You got me a glass of water at 1 a.m. I was volunteering at an event. I didn't remember the situation, but he said the level of commitment and servitude and willingness just to do whatever it took to make my experience terrific, it just really touched my heart. I was like, you never know the small things that you do that can have an absolute impact, a life-changing impact on someone.
Yeah, we got to keep having that servitude mentality, keep reaching out, being givers and not takers. Adam Grant wrote a book on it, Givers and Takers. You need to get that book. I know I've referenced a lot of books.
No, keep coming.
But I'm just telling you, these books will radically transform your life and the way you think. And so that's what's up for me next. It's promoting my book, View from the Top, and it's promoting the Mastermind Blueprint, helping you organize a group yourself to be the facilitator of a very profitable, meaningful mastermind group.
Well, when that book comes out, please touch base with us.
It's out.
It's out.
You guys, you can go get it. Go to viewfromthetop.com. Go to Amazon. Put in View from the Top by Aaron Walker, and you can order it right now today.
Awesome. That's terrific.
Don't forget the 5-star review and leave me some great comments. If you don't like the book, don't tell anybody. But if you love it, 5-star review and leave me a great review, man. I need you guys to do that immediately.
I love it. Well, please share with the audience how they can get in touch with you, how they can get involved with the masterminds and everything else that you're working on.
Cool. Thank you. I brought a gift. I want to give something away to all your listeners. You'll go to viewfromthetop.com/peak performers, all in lowercase letters. There are 3 documents I use every day to coach with. One of them is a personal assessment. It helps you overcome things in your life that you are possibly even unaware of right now, like your identity and your ideals, your relationships, your career, your faith, all the things that we all deal with. They're very pointed questions that you can ask yourself. There's not a right or wrong answer. It's just a thought-provoking question. The second document is called What Do I Want? Thor, most people don't even know what they want. They're living reactively and not proactively. I help you live proactively. I asked one of the questions, and I'll tell you what it is. If tomorrow morning you could live anywhere you wanted to, there were no geographic or financial limitations, what would you do with your life? Most people don't know. Most people are trying to pay for things they shouldn't have bought to begin with, or they just want bigger, better, shinier, or more. And Robin and I, for 37 years, have lived intentionally. We've decided how much money we want to make, where we want to live, what we want to do, how we want to give away money, what we want to do intentionally. Third one, steps to a productive day. You've already talked about it. It's a to-do list on steroids. It's written in a Word document. You can fill it out every single day. Thor, I took the price off all of them. They're not for purchase. I'm giving them to you. So go to viewfromthetop.com/peak performers, and hopefully that will help you live a more successful and significant life. Thor, you're the best, man. Thanks for having me on today.
Big A, you are a superstar, and thank you very much for all the value that you provided the audience today.
See you, buddy.
Thank you so much for listening today. I really do appreciate your time, and I hope you found today's show valuable. If you would like to receive these shows automatically to your phone or to your computer, simply go to iTunes and subscribe. After listening to several of the shows, if you're so inclined, please leave us a 5-star rating, as this helps us reach additional people and spread the message. If you're truly committed to taking your life to the next level and doing whatever it takes to become a peak performer, but something's holding you back, something is blocking your way, and you just can't seem to figure out what it is, send me an email to info@thorconklin.com, and I'd be more than happy to get on the phone with you. We'll schedule a 15-minute discovery call. No obligation, no cost. I absolutely love to hear from the listeners, and if there's something I can do to help, I'd be more than happy to do that. Also, if you found something of great interest in today's show and you want to share that with your friends and family, simply go to my Facebook page, Thor Conklin, click on the episode, hit the share button, and share it on your page. You can follow me at Twitter @ThorConklin. The website is thorconklin.com. We're constantly adding new free resources, discussing additional tricks, tips, tools, and strategies on how to be a peak performer. Remember, I try to keep these episodes short so you can listen to them during dot time, doing other things, commuting, driving, walking, working out. Decide to be a peak performer in all that you do. And until tomorrow, have an absolutely amazing day.